You got 5 minutes to clear out your barn, old man. That's what the guy in the navy polo said right before I noticed the hammer in his hand. Funny how quickly a peaceful morning can turn sideways. 1 minute, I'm standing there with my half-full mug, watching mist lift off the pastures, the horses just starting to snort and shuffle. And the next, there's a black SUV idling at the end of my drive for strangers piling out like they're late for a hostile takeover. Yeah, that happened, 7:03 a.m., Saturday, sun barely over the ridge, and I'm staring at a laminated badge that looks like it got printed during a lunch break at Kinko's. The woman out front, she's all pressed slacks and clipped words. Mr. Hale, we're here on behalf of Clearwater Meadows Homeowners Association. She flashes that badge, tucks it away, and I get my first look at her muscle. 3 guys built like they buy sunglasses in bulk and wouldn't know real dirt if it bit 'em. Their shirts have that HOA logo stitched up neat, and the big one's squeezing his hammer like it'll answer all his prayers. You folks must be lost, I tell her real polite. Old habit. Her mouth gets tight. We're not lost, Mr. Hale. We're here to execute a demolition order for unpermitted structures and sanitation hazards on your property. Now, let me back up a sec. 30 years wearing a badge. I've seen every shade of fake there is, and this paper she hands me? Too glossy, wrong seal, legal gibberish I could poke holes in from a mile out. Nice try, I say, handing it back, but the county doesn't stamp documents with inkjet toner. The tall guy with the hammer grins like he's about to audition for the role of guy who gets decked in Act 1. I can see where this is headed, so I tell him, you can leave, or we can make this real complicated, but I guarantee you're not taking a barn apart today. The woman, Diana, she finally says, Diana Frost, disciplinary coordinator, tries to lay it on thick. Clearwater Meadows has jurisdiction over this buffer zone. You're in violation of Community Code 6.3. I have to laugh, right? Lady, this is a working farm, not your beige kingdom. My deed, my rules, your HOA stops at that fence. Her poker face slips, but she keeps pushing. Now she's talking about integration paperwork and daily fines. Want me to sign up as a provisional member. I hold up the document again, careful with my words. You made one mistake, Diana. You handed a forged document to a man who used to catch people like you before breakfast. And that's when things shift. The big one steps in, tries to flex, but I don't blink. My right hand's resting near my belt, not threatening, just muscle memory. The other guy rattles my barn gate. Horses start getting nervous. I give a sharp whistle. My gelding rears, hooves cutting the air. That man stumbles back fast, like maybe he's reconsidering his life choices. Now Diana's voice has a wobble. If you continue to obstruct an official procedure, we'll be forced to escalate. Ma'am, I say low and steady, you already have. Everything you've done, on camera. I point to the blinking red light by my gate, my old body cam clipped under my jacket, and tell her those so-called complaints are headed to the sheriff's office. That gets her. She packs up, snaps at her guys, and they all pile back into the SUV. Tires spinning, gravel flying. She throws me a parting shot. This isn't over. I tip my hat. You're right about that. Didn't even get to finish my coffee before they were back. Not 2 hours later, same SUV, same uniforms, except now they've got gloves and a bright orange pry bar. Diana is not pretending anymore. She's recording on her tablet. The big guy's prying at my barn door. My horses are snorting and stamping. I tell him, don't do it. He does it anyway. Metal screeches, latch pops. That old calm comes over me. The kind you only learn after a lifetime of walking into rooms where things go wrong. I move, grab his wrist, twist elbow down quick and sharp. His arm give with a wet pop. Crowbar hits the dirt, and he's screaming. Second guy charges. I use his weight, send him into the side of the SUV. He slumps dazed. Third man freezes, phone shaking in his hand. Still filming. I ask, good. You'll need evidence for your hospital bill. He's gone, sprinting for the car. Diana's shouting now, shrill and desperate. "You assaulted my employees. You're going to jail." I dial the county dispatcher. Old number, never forgot it. "This is Frank Hale. I've got 3 trespassers, 1 injured, situation under control. Requesting deputies and medical." Diana's pacing, yelling into her tablet. I just stand there, breathing in dust and adrenaline, watching the horizon for blue lights. Sheriff's cruisers pull up. Ramos steps out first, the kind of deputy who's seen enough to keep his holster closed. Diana's already trying to get me arrested, talking about lawful inspection. Ramos just nods, studies the demolition order, then shows her where the county seals the wrong color. "Ma'am, this was printed off a home computer. Signatory's been retired for 3 years." She's flustered, scrambling for excuses. Ramos asks if I've got my cameras running. I show him the live feed. He whistles. That's pretty clear cut. Deputies are taking statements. One guy's nursing his arm. Diana's looking pale as chalk. She tries one last time. "Officer, this man is dangerous." Ramos shrugs. "You brought hired muscle onto private property with forged papers. That's trespassing, coercion, and maybe a little fraud." He looks at me. "You want to press charges?" "Not yet," I tell him. "Let's see how deep the hole goes." He laughs. Still the same old Frank. Still the same county, I say. Just more idiots with better printers. Later, standing in the quiet, I open up the so-called inspection form Diana dropped. Photos, grainy, taken from the road, stamped with non-compliant structure pending action. No legal reference, just intimidation with extra lamination. "You've got guts, lady." I open my laptop, pull county records, my parcel's agricultural, outside HOA jurisdiction, no annexation, nothing. Clearwater's boundary map ends 2 miles away, but they'd uploaded a new one. Fake overlay made with a home design app, not the county system. I file everything, videos, fake docs, even the crowbar footage. Send it all to Julia Rich, my old department buddy turned lawyer. She takes the case and starts digging. Turns out the HOA had been faking overlays, bullying owners out of land that had fetched 7 figures in the next development phase. Their compliance consultant, Leon Baird, has a history of intimidation, unlicensed contracting, whole 9 yards. And the best part? One of their guys dropped a phone running the camera app. Messages on it showing Diana, and Baird coordinating the show of force, telling the muscle to record everything, make it look official. Julia finds a whistleblower. Evan Torres, scared, shaky, but willing to testify. He says Diana orchestrated everything. Cash to Baird, orders to escalate, if folks resisted, paperwork to make it all look real after the fact. Julia brings in the DA. The county investigators trace the overlays and contractor account right back to Baird, and it all lines up. Intent, coordination, conspiracy. When they try again, show up at dawn with a backhoe, ready for round 3, the deputies are waiting. Flatbed truck, black SUV. Diana, in her business best, barking orders while the hired hands line up to tear down my barn. I radio Ramos. Deputies burst from the tree lean, lights flashing. The operators freeze. The muscle drops to their knees, and Diana tries to bluster through it until she's got handcuffs around her wrists and not a word left that anyone believes. Court comes quick. Press everywhere. Judge with no patience for theatrics. Julia walks the court through every forged map, every video, every message. Evan testifies. Diana's lawyer tries to spin it, but there's nowhere to run. The judge finds him guilty, fraud, trespass, document falsification. Orders them to pay damages, $185,000 from the HOA and Diana herself. HOA operation suspended, state audit incoming. News breaks before I'm home. Body cam footage on TV, me standing in my boots, Diana's smile playing on loop, reporters calling it the day the HOA went too far. I just call it Tuesday. Audit uncovers embezzlement, more fraud, and Diana skips town after a plea deal. County sends a formal apology, pins it to my wall as proof the system can still work if you push hard enough. Ramos drops by, tells me the line about justice still working is making the rounds. He asks if I ever thought of writing it all down. I just did, I tell him. With the settlement, I start something small, the line in the dirt fund. Legal help for folks getting steamrolled by HOAs and developers. A little pressure to remind the system who it's supposed to protect. First check goes out to a retired teacher being fined for solar panels. Stories start pouring in. Somewhere along the way, I realize it isn't about revenge, it's about restoration. I hang a new sign by the gate. Armed, trained, private. This land is not for sale, not for HOA. And below it, a little plaque that says, not in your HOA. It's not defiance, it's freedom. Some men build monuments. Some just leave a line in the dirt and dare the world to cross it. So now, every night, I sit on the porch with a mug of coffee, horses settled in the dark, fence posts throwing long shadows across the earth. Peace isn't something you buy or fake or regulate. It's something you fight for, and sometimes, if you're lucky, it's something you get to keep. You ever have to pick a side? Just remember, justice might retire, but it never quits. And that line in the dirt, still here, still holding. What would you have done? Crossed it or held your ground? I'm curious. Drop your story in the comments. Let's see where folks draw their lines.